Hello, everyone. Hello. If you hear snoring in the video, it's Michelle. No, if you hear snoring, it's Cassie. I'm not late. I'm not late at all. I started on time. Wasn't Michelle up all night? No, Michelle wasn't up all night. I actually had a really good sleep. I always wake up in the night, but I usually go back to sleep again eventually. But no, I wasn't even late. So I don't know what people are on about. All right. We're going to talk about Leilani Simon today. September has been one of those months where I've kind of been going back, catching up on cases that I've not been following as closely as I should have done. And the reason why I stopped following Leilani Simon's case very closely was because hearings have been like few and far between, and they're not televised. So, you know, it's difficult to keep up. Annoyingly, though, this is the thing. Annoyingly, there are cameras in the court, because after each hearing, like the local news does have clips from inside the courtroom. So there's cameras in the court. This is the same thing that happened in Corey Bigsby's case, you know, for the murder of Corey Bigsby. Cameras were there. The news would play clips, but yet the full hearing wasn't anywhere. You couldn't find it anywhere. And it's the same with Leilani, unless I've just been completely missing like the channel that has been playing these like full hearings. I can't find the full hearings anywhere. I can only find clips. So I don't know about the trial. I'm hoping that it will be televised, but I hope that for Corey Bigsby, given that cameras were in the courtroom, like good cameras as well. Not some, you know, shoddy live stream camera. No, good camera angles. So I don't know, for those wondering, like I am, whether the trial will be televised, I can't answer that. I don't know. If anybody's in the area and who knows, let me know. Let me know. So, Leilani Simon, for those of you that followed this case from the outset, 20-month-old Quinton Simon, Leilani's son, beautiful little boy, absolutely gorgeous little boy. He was reported missing on the morning of the 5th of October, 2022. And it very quickly became clear to the cops, you know, they only did a cursory search around the neighbourhood. It became very, very clear to them that something very bad had happened to Quinton. It took them a while to arrest Leilani, however. It took them about a month to arrest Leilani. I've got a playlist. Hold on, let me just make this bigger. I have a playlist of 33 videos about Quinton's case. So that would have been the day after he went missing, I'm guessing. But it took a minute. So press conference. And if you remember, they started searching the landfill and they spent weeks searching the landfill. Like they followed Leilani, followed her steps, found surveillance video near a trailer park. And they strongly suspected that Quinton, sadly, had been put in a dumpster and it was trash day. So I should show you this video here. Oh, it's only short. Brett Buffington did a lot of reporting on this. So this was Leilani and her family out there whilst there was a massive search, like the FBI, loads and loads of search organizations were out there searching for Quinton. And finally, they found some evidence that Quinton was in that landfill. I mean, look at him. He's such a gorgeous little boy. Look at him. Look at him. How could you hurt a hair on that baby's head? 20 months old. How? But they found evidence. They found some remains that were, by DNA testing, found to be that of Quinton. And they arrested Leilani for his murder. Yeah, landfill searches are crushing to watch, Scott. You're right. Awful. Really bad. So she was indicted on, this is the indictment. I'll have to skip through it. I can't find my copy of the indictment. I know I've got it. I know I've got it because I did a video on it. But I'm going to read it from this video. So she was indicted on 19 counts. Various things like lying and stuff like that. But counts 1 to 3 were the biggest counts. And back in March, her defense put in a motion to quash the murder, the counts of murder, which just left like the lesser charges. About 2 weeks ago, the judge finally got round to giving an order. I'm going to read that order, saying that no, we're not quashing the counts of murder. And there was a hearing 2 weeks ago. I can play some clips from that hearing, but like I said, I can't find the full hearing. It was an evidentiary hearing. So we know what is going to be included at trial. There is another hearing later this month ahead of the trial, and then the trial starts on October 7th. It's jury selection, October 7th. I think the 9th is when the trial actually starts. Exactly. Quinton would have been adopted in a minute. He would. Was the boyfriend charged? No. I think he's a witness for the prosecution. Four minutes behind. Oh, you'll easily catch up to 4 minutes. Yeah, that's right. So for those who are not that familiar with the case, Leilani lived with her boyfriend. But Leilani was only like 19, had 3 kids. Quinton was the middle child. So she had an older child by one man. Then she had Quinton by another man. And then the baby, the little girl, was Daniel Youngkin's child. And Leilani and Daniel were living together at Billy Joe's house. Billy Joe and Billy Joe's husband. Billy Joe, Quinton's grandma, Leilani's mother, actually had custody of the kids, or at least the 2 boys, the 2 older boys. And Leilani, so Billy Joe came under a huge amount of scrutiny and lots of abuse towards Billy Joe because Leilani should not have been left on her own with the children. I get it. I do get it. I do get it. I do get why people were so negative towards Billy Joe. However, Billy Joe had to work and she made good money. She worked out of state for quite a lot of the time, and she was out of state when Quinton went, quote unquote, missing, i.e. murdered. I do have some sympathy with Billy Joe, however, because Leilani wasn't left on her own with the kids. Daniel was there, who was an adult, but he also worked. So when Daniel was at work and Billy Joe was at work and Billy Joe's husband, whose name escapes me, was also at work, when all three of the adults in the house were at work, Billy Joe paid for a babysitter, someone called Diana, who lived down the road, at the end of the road. So Leilani should never have been left on her own with the kids, and that's what Billy Joe believed was happening, right? So Billy Joe was paying for this babysitter while Leilani just sat on her arse all day. The babysitter down the road was looking after her kids. Like, I think the eldest boy was, I want to say 3. Like, they were very, very close together in age. So I think the eldest boy was either 3 or 4. Then there was Quentin at 20 months, and then there was the little baby. So the babysitter, Diana, down the road, would get the kids when Daniel went to work, keep the kids all day. Daniel would pick them up, and then Daniel would look after them. And there was also a brother as well. Leilani's brother, Paul, was also in the house. So it's not like Leilani was left on her own. Leilani was never on her own with those children. There was always an adult in the house supervising Leilani as well as the kids. That's what Billy Joe believes. So for that reason, I do have sympathy with Billy Joe, because she had to work. She was the breadwinner. I mean, I know, yeah, Daniel was also working. I think Leilani even had a job at one point. I don't know whether she was working at the time of Quentin's murder, but she did have a job. And then there was, I think Billy Joe's husband was not called Tommy. Correct me if I'm wrong. So, you know, there was plenty of money in that house. It was a really nice house. So they weren't short of money. So Billy Joe, in order to, you know, keep working, keep them in the, you know, the nice house and stuff, she paid for this babysitter for 3 kids. Yeah, Billy Joe was keeping a roof over their heads. Yeah, she was. So the court had granted Billy Joe custody of these kids. But Billy Joe was she believed the kids were safe. She believed the kids were safe. Anyway, this day, October the 5th, 2022, Diana, the babysitter, got a text message, supposedly from Daniel, early in the morning, like 6:30 or something in the morning, saying that Leilani would have the kids that day, which was very unusual. Now, the babysitter couldn't very well go and just take the kids. You know, she just probably thought, oh, all right then. She was a bit like concerned, but it's not like she could go and steal the kids, really, you know. So she probably thought, oh, well, Daniel must be off and blah, blah, blah. But anyway, I'm presuming we'll find out at trial whether it actually was Daniel who sent that text message at that time in the morning. But anyway, around 9:30, 9:45-ish, around that time, Leilani made the 911 call. Now, on this day, the babysitter spoke out quite a bit in those very early days while Quentin was still missing, like giving her side of the story. And Billy Joe went round and attacked the babysitter, saying, oh, I think I've even got it. I think I've probably even got it. So what's happening here? Why is that there? Okay. So yeah, the babysitter Diana, she was doing live streams. Yeah, I've got it here. This is what happened. There's no sound. Oh, dear me. Oh, it's done it again. All right. All right. My phone's ringing. Can you hear it? All right. We'll do it again. It's only like a minute and a half anyway. Right. Let me know you've got sound on this one.
You're awful to say you're going to be a memorial.
Hear
That
it now?
baby's not dead.
Quentin's grandma.
Can you hear it now? Let me know. You hear the phone though? You can hear it now. Good. Right. Okay. It's StreamYard. It's not me. It's insane.
Mother in Quentin's babysitter's house. The intense moments recorded by Dana McCarta's daughter. Dana says Quentin's grandmother barged through her back door, mad over the thought of a memorial for the missing toddler.
My baby's not dead.
I think that she's trying to take the heat off of them.
Diana talking with us today, telling me she's called Georgia's Department of Family and Children's Services about Quentin and his siblings before.
DFACS told you there was a case.
Yes, absolutely.
Diana isn't the only neighbor here to tell us they were concerned about the children in this home.
I was afraid he was going to get hit.
I told you I was trying to provide. I even provided for you, you bitch. I told you I was trying to provide. I even provided for you, you bitch. I told you I was trying to provide. I even provided for you, you bitch. I told you I was trying to provide. I even provided for you, you bitch.
Yeah. Okay. So there were concerns in that neighborhood. There were concerns that the kids were kind of just out on their own, out on the street on their own. So even when, at night, in the evenings when Daniel was there, I don't think eyes were on those kids. I don't think those kids were being supervised as well as they could have been. So the neighbours were concerned. The babysitter was concerned. Diana, she told Billy Joe that the kids were, out wandering the streets on their own. And she'd called the Department of Children's Services. You heard in that shot there that Billy Joe was like, I provide for you, you bitch. Because Billy Joe was paying Diana to look after them. So I do get what people said about Billy Joe, that she perhaps was just assuming everything was all right and maybe not quite understanding or grasping the seriousness of the situation. But at the same time, I do have sympathy for Billy Joe because she was trying her best. Anyhow, here we are. Leilani eventually was indicted for murder. So let's get this indictment up again here. All right. Okay. So I'm not going to read the whole 19 counts because it's only counts 1, 2, and 3 that are relating to murder. So in Georgia, they have like some strange terms, like they use the term malice murder. I assume that that's kind of the same as first degree murder. I'm assuming, but anyway. So this is count 1, malice murder, in the name of and behalf of the citizens of the state of Georgia, charge and accuse Leilani Marie Simon of the offence of malice murder for the said Leilani Marie Simon in the county of Chatham and the state of Georgia on or about 5th day of October 2022 did unlawfully with malice aforethought cause the death of her son Quentin Simon, a human being, in the manner unknown to the grand jury at the time, contrary to the laws of the state of Georgia. Good order, peace, and dignity thereof. And then there was 2 counts of felony murder. So I guess it's like different theories of how the murder occurred. Like you see this a lot in cases where you'll have 2 counts of murder for the same, the same act. because the prosecution don't know exactly how it happened. They've got enough information to make that charge, but they don't know exactly how it happened. So they give the jury options, right? That's fine. So count 2, felony murder. Jurors 4 said in the name of blah, 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 blah. Charge and accuse Leilani Marie Simon with the offence of felony murder for that said in the county of Chatham, blah, 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 on the 5th day of October, did commit the offence of aggravated assault in violation of that statute, a felony. In that, the accused did make an assault upon the person of her son, Quinton Simon, with an object that, when used offensively against a person, did result in serious bodily injury. The nature of the object being unknown to the grand jury at the time. So that's count 2. And then we've got count 3. Oh, that's count 4. It's annoying having to do it like this. It's count 3 the same. Why do I skip? Why do I skip count 3? But anyway, count 3 is another. Oh, okay. I can just about make it out here. So, offence of felony murder. So, Leilani did commit the offence of cruelty to a child in the 1st degree, which resulted in his death. Okay. Right. All right. So, the defence wanted these counts of murder dismissed. Like they wanted, they said that she'll take the other counts. So you can see here on the screen, count 4, concealing the death of another, and then the rest. So there's 19 counts, but the rest are all to do with false reporting. So false reporting him missing, and then basically lying, like telling a load of different stories. So in March, this is the order. We are going to read this in full. It's only 7 pages. This is from the judge. This is how an order should be written. Just a note to Judge Francis C. Gull over there in Indiana. When you write an order, you don't just say, because I said so. You actually include the law as to why you're ordering such in your court. Just a note to Francis if she's watching. All right. So we're going to read this in a second, but let's go through this first. So Judge denied the motion. Judge denied the motion to throw out parts of Leilani Simon's indictment. Okay. All right. So this was written back in August ahead of the last hearing. We're going to play some clips from that hearing in a second. We're going to do the indictment first. So Judge denies motion to throw out parts of Leilani Simon's indictment. Motion's hearing to be held on Friday. Again, this is back in August. This is 2 weeks ago. So Judge Tammy Stokes has denied a request by Leilani Simon's defence team to quash part of her indictment days before Friday's evidentiary hearing in the case. The Chatham County mother, who is accused of killing her 20-month-old Quinton and throwing his body in a dumpster, will stand trial for all 19 counts against her. So 3 counts of murder. We've got 1 count malice murder, 2 counts felony murder. We've got count 4's concealing his death, and then counts 5 to 19 inclusive are all about lying and misreporting and stuff. Simon's defence team has asked the first 3 charges on the indictment, malice murder and 2 counts of felony murder, be dismissed because the indictment failed to allege how Quinton was killed. That's what they're saying. Is the trial today? No, the trial is in October. I'm doing this overview of the case, getting us all up to date ahead of the trial. The trial starts on the 7th of October. Jury selection is 7th of October and the trial starts proper on the 9th. There is another hearing later this month, like, a final hearing ahead of the trial. But we're doing an overview of the case today, getting us all ready for the trial, because I'm doing these in September while things are relatively quiet in the true crime world. Certainly the cases I'm covering. I know there's plenty going on. But the cases I'm covering at the moment are relatively quiet. So I'm doing all these overviews for trials coming up in October, because October is going to be insane. Listen, October's going to be insane. We've got Leilani Simon's trial starting on the 7th. We've also got Sarah Boone's trial starting on the 7th. And then we've got the Delphi trial starting on the 14th. So October's going to be insane. So I'm doing as many of these overview videos as I can while things are quiet, and then you can, people can just refer back to it. All right, so Judge Stokes struck down both arguments, saying the indictment is sufficient because the evidence as presented by the state is that the cause of death cannot be ascertained due to the condition and decomposition of Quinton's body. Yes, because she threw him in a dumpster. And then the poor little mite was all mangled up by the dumpster. And then he was in a landfill for weeks until the brave men and women who went out there day after day after day after day to find little bits of him. They don't know exactly how he died. They know she probably hit him, or she was cruel to him, or something happened that resulted in his murder. Okay. Yeah, October is going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot. Yeah, Quinton's dad was part Hawaiian. You can really see it in Quinton. He's absolutely gorgeous. Such a cute little boy. I mean, the fact that Leilani was caught on camera at this trailer park throwing Quinton's body in a dumpster, I think tells you all you need to know. You don't just throw someone in a dumpster if you had absolutely nothing to do with their death. It's come on now. Anyway, Judge Stokes struck down both arguments, saying it's sufficient because the evidence presented by the state that the cause of death cannot be ascertained due to the condition and decomp of Quinton's body. She went on to say in the order that Simon knows the state intends to prove she intentionally killed her son, and she knows she has to defend herself against that. So there's the order. Right, we're going to read the order right now. And then there were some other motions as well that we're just going to touch on. And then we're going to play some clips from the last hearing. All right, so this is the order. Superior Court, Chatham County's Eastern Judicial Circuit. All right. That watermark. I don't mind channels putting watermarks on, if they've bought this, I don't mind. But can they just make it a little less prominent? That would be great. All right. Defendant Leilani Simon filed 3 special demurrers. What are demurrers? I've never heard that word before. Like I said, in Georgia, they seem to use the special words for certain things. But demurrers. Never heard of it. On March 23rd, 2023, the first special demurrer seeks to quash count 1 of the indictment, malice murder, as fatally defective in that it fails to allege any manner of death. Well, we know the manner of death. The manner of death was homicide. It failed to say what the cause of death was. The second special demurrer seeks to quash count 2 of the indictment, felony murder predicated upon aggravated assault, in that it fails to allege the nature of the object or weapon which resulted in any serious injury to Quinton. The third special demurrer seeks to quash count 3 of the indictment, felony murder predicated upon cruelty to a child, in that it fails to allege the nature in which any cruel and excessive physical pain was inflicted on Quinton. Defendant claims that failure to allege the manner of death, the nature of the object or weapon, and the nature in which any cruel and excessive physical pain was inflicted in counts 1, 2, and 3, from her being adequately informed of the facts on which each count is based, and as a result, she is denied an opportunity to prepare a defence in each charge. The state filed a response to the special demurrer on July 14th. The court held a hearing on the, I'm not even going to say that word anymore, on July 31st, during which the court heard oral arguments from both parties. We haven't seen those. I'd like to watch that. I'd like to hear what the oral arguments were, but I can't find it anywhere. I can find clips, but I can't find the whole hearing. So if anybody knows whether the whole hearings are streamed somewhere, anywhere, let me know. Because the likelihood is, if these hearings are streamed, but it's just people are not picking up on them and news channels aren't playing them in full, we know cameras are in the court because the news plays clips. So we know there's cameras in the court. So where are the full hearings? And I'm guessing if the full hearings are somewhere, I've just not found them, then the whole trial will be played somewhere. I'm hoping like the news, like Court TV or someone picks up on this. But that's what I was hoping for Corey Bigsby as well. And I was disappointed. People telling me what a demurrer is. A motion by a party to a legal action for the immediate or summary judgment of the court on the question of whether, assuming the truth of the matter alleged by the opposite party, is it sufficient in law to sustain the action or defence, and hence whether the party bringing the motion is required to answer or proceed further. All right, so it's a motion that seeks an answer, basically, I think. Anyway, okay. So after reading and considering these special demurrers, all argument, evidence of record, and the applicable law, the court denies each individually. Analysis. The Georgia appellate courts have routinely held that A, special demurrers merely object to the form of an indictment and seeks more information or greater specificity about the offence charged. Once a defendant has timely filed a special demurrer, he or she entitled to an indictment perfect in form and substance. Okay. All right. However, every detail of the crime is not required. The true test of the sufficiency of an indictment to withstand a special demurrer is not whether it could have been made more definite and certain, but whether it contains the element of the offence intended to be charged and sufficiently apprises the defendant of what he or she must prepare to meet, and in case any other proceedings are taken against him or her for the similar offence, whether the record shows with accuracy to what extent he may plead a former acquittal or conviction. Okay. All right. So they don't have to have every single thing spelled out. They just have to know what the nature is, what the nature of the charge is. Okay. So we got some law here. So when a court considers whether an indictment is sufficient to withstand a special demurrer, it is useful to remember that the purpose of the indictment is to allow a defendant to prepare his defence intelligently. When presented with a special demurrer, the court should examine the indictment from the perspective that the accused is innocent. Of course you should. For this is what the law presumes. Nevertheless, the language of an indictment is to be interpreted liberally in favour of the state, while the accused objection to the indictment as presented in the special demurrer is strictly construed against the accused. In so viewing the indictment, this court finds as follows. Count one of the indictment charges malice murder, the elements of which are 1, a person, 2, unlawfully, and 3, with malice aforethought, express or implied causes of death of another human being. So causes the death of another human being, okay, with malice aforethought. That's it. That's it, that's all. I don't have to say exactly how it happened. For the purpose of the special demurrer as count 1, the pertinent language of the charges as follows. For that defendant, on or about 5th day of October 2022, did unlawfully, with malice aforethought, cause the death of her son, Quinton Simon, a human being, in the manner unknown to the grand jury at this time, contrary to the laws of the state of Georgia. Defendant argues that count 1 is fatally defective and should be quashed because it fails to allege any manner of death, and therefore count 1 does not adequately inform defendant of the facts on which the count is based. Essentially, defendant argues she is denied due process in that she is denied an opportunity to prepare a defence against the malice murder charge. The court disagrees and finds that count 1 survives a special demurrer. An indictment failing to specify the cause of death is sufficient when the circumstances of the case will not admit for greater certainty in stating the means of death. Well, when you throw your baby in a dumpster on trash day, and then that little baby's body gets mangled in the dumpster and then spends weeks in a landfill, yeah, nobody's going to be able to ascertain the exact cause of death. So if Leilani thought she was being smart by throwing her baby in a dumpster, well, I'm sorry, she failed. Okay. Here, count 1 avers that the malice murder of Quinton Simon was completed by defendant unlawfully causing the death of her son in a manner unknown, blah, blah, blah. The state argues the evidence and circumstances of this case provide that Quinton's body, portions and fragments of bones and flesh, etc., that people had to go and find, like in just horrendous circumstances, fragments of bone and flesh they were looking for were discovered in a local landfill after defendant discarded his body into a dumpster. The state further asserts that Quinton's body was collected by a front-loading garbage truck, compacted by the garbage truck, and then transported to the local waste management facility where his body ultimately went through additional trauma before pieces and portions of the body ended in the landfill. Remains of the body were found dispersed across a search deck more than a month after his disappearance. Horrendous. Horrendous. This court finds count 1 of the indictment is sufficient since the circumstances do not allow greater specificity due to the condition of the body and inability to ascertain the cause of death. Specifically, the evidence as presented by the state is that the cause of death cannot be ascertained due to the condition and decomposition of Quinton's body, and whose fault that was. Whose fault it was the person who put him in the dumpster in the first place. And oh, look, on camera is Leilani Simon. Furthermore, the indictment sufficiently apprises the defendant of what she has to defend against in trial. Defendant knows the state intends to provide to prove that on October 5th, etc., etc., etc. Okay. So, number 2, felony murder, predicated on aggravated assault, of which the elements are 1, a person, 2, unlawfully, 3, made an assault upon the victim, 4, with an object, 5, that caused great bodily injury, and 6, it caused the victim's death. For that purpose of the second demurrer, the pertinent language of the charge is as follows. On or about 5th day of October, defendant did commit the offence of aggravated assault in violation to 16-5-21, a felony in that the accused did make an assault upon the person of her son, Quinton Simon, with an object that, when used offensively against the person, did result in serious bodily injury, the nature of the object being unknown by the grand jury at the time, and the accused did, in the commission of this offence, cause Quinton's death contrary to the laws of Georgia. Defendant argues that count 2 is fatally defective because it fails to allege the nature of the object or weapon which resulted in any serious injury to the victim. Therefore, count 2 does not adequately inform defendant of the facts, blah, blah, blah. The court finds defendant's objection to count 2 fails as the indictment is not required to identify the exact weapon or object used, and if the circumstances of the case do not allow such specificity. Count 2 of the indictment is sufficient since the indictment is as specific as it is due to the nature and condition of the victim's body, as we've already said. Specifically, the body underwent a traumatic process at the landfill, which made it impossible to determine the exact nature of the object that inflicted his injuries. I'd be interested to know at trial whether Leilani's been witnessed previously hitting Quinton with an object. And maybe that's why they've thought, well, she hit him with an object because that's what she's done in the past. I don't know. I'd be interested to know why they included that specific detail. Because they didn't have to. They didn't have to. They don't know how he died. They didn't have to have a special felony murder count. So I'd be interested to know how the state approaches that. Furthermore, based on the indictment, she will defend against at trial. Defendant knows the state intends to prove that on October 5th, 2022, defendant murdered, blah, blah, blah. Okay. And then number 3, which is the cruelty. So again, they could have, the jury only have to find a guilty of one. The jury don't have to find a guilty on all 3 counts for her to go away for the rest of her life. If they can't prove that an object was used, then they'll say not guilty to count 2. But that doesn't mean to say that they won't find a They won't find a guilty of count 3 or count 1. So they only need to find a guilty of 1, and she's done. Count 3 of the indictment charged felony murder predicated on cruelty to a child in the first degree, of which the elements are 1, a person who committed the offence of cruelty in the first degree, 3, by maliciously causing the victim cruel and excessive physical pain, and 4, that caused the death of the victim. So here is very non-specific, just that she was cruel to him, she abused him in an horrendous way, which caused his death. For the purpose of the second demurrer, pertinent language, I think that should be 3rd, really, but anyway. So on or about, okay, we don't need to read that. So yeah, she was cruel, caused excessive pain, and resulted in his death. Defendant argues count 3 is fatally defective because it fails to allege the nature in which any cruel and excessive physical pain was inflicted on Quinton, and therefore count 3 does not adequately inform defendant of the facts, and she can't defend against it. Defendant's objection to count 3 fails because, as addressed, indictment cannot be more specific than the evidence permits. For the reasons previously stated in sections 1 and 2, the indictment is specific as it can be due to the circumstances. Okay, so conclusion. The court finds the language used in counts 1, 2, and 3 of the indictment not only provide defendants with the information needed to defend against the charges alleged against her, but the language also is specific as the circumstances of this case allow the state to be. Okay, denied. All right, so that's the indictment, but there were some other motions that were also filed. So in another motion, Leilani's team asked to quash 4 counts of making a false statement. The indictment accused Leilani of hiding from police that she had disposed of Quinton's body in a dumpster and that she had been on drugs the night before. Her defense team argues that by concealing those facts from police, she was exercising her Fifth Amendment right to avoid self-incrimination. Okay, all right. That's a better argument. Judge Stokes affirmed that Simon will stand trial on those charges as well. Saying that Simon voluntarily responded to questions about Quinton and that her answers to those questions were deliberately designed to deceive and harm the investigation. She wanted to plead the Fifth, and you just say nothing. You just say, I plead the Fifth. I'm saying nothing. So obviously she was answering questions. She was just lying. So she wasn't exercising her Fifth Amendment right to say nothing, right? To just say no comment. I'm not talking about this. You know, she didn't. She was answering questions, but she was lying. So, all right, cool. In light of the judge's orders, it's certain that Simon will those charges as well, will face, I guess, those charges as well as the other murder and making false statement charges at her October trial. She also faces charges of concealing the death of another, so that was count 4. False report of a crime, yeah, that's count 5. A hearing in this case is scheduled today at 1:30 p.m. Okay, all right. So that was the 23rd of August. So we're going to listen to some news pieces now. 23rd of August, so just over 2 weeks ago. And again, these are the only news pieces I can find. So we've got a 1.5 minute one, a 3 minute one, a 3 minute one, a 1 minute one, a 2 minute one, and then it's people talking about it. So let's play this 3 minute one. I've played that one. It's very short. And as you can see, there's the quoting the court. They're in court. The cameras are in the court. So why are the whole hearings not available? Even if it's just on one of these news channels' websites, you know, they've not just put it on YouTube. Why? I don't understand. Is anyone else's sound breaking up? Or are you both on the way out? Other people's sound looks okay. Oh, you're getting choppy too. Criminal Med. Maybe it's my internet. It's just on. No, it's not telling me that I've got low internet. I'm not getting the low internet sign. But my internet is a bit rubbish. So I don't know. All right, let's just play a couple of these news clips here. So let's play this 3 minute one here. So Leilani Simon appears in court preparing for October trial.
Physical violence.
It's all.
Okay.
Well, thank you for joining us here on The News at 6. I'm Mike Seeley.
And I'm Dawn Baker. Accusations of relationship gone wrong and physical violence.
It's all evidence that prosecutors want used in Leilani Simon's upcoming murder trial. The mother is accused of killing her 20-month-old son, Quentin, and discarding his body in a dumpster in Chatham County. Our Flynn Snyder is live at the Chatham County Courthouse right now. And Flynn, lawyers made their arguments in front of a judge this afternoon.
Well, Mike, Don, a motion hearing wrapped up just a short time ago here at the Chatham County Courthouse. Prosecutors say this evidence will help them prove their case. Meanwhile, Simon's lawyers are pushing back, saying it's not relevant to the case and it's just being used to make their client look bad. New developments in Leilani Simon's legal troubles. Prosecutors laying out 7 exhibits of evidence they want used in her upcoming trial. They say it shows what was...
Look, the camera's in the court. And it's good cameras as well. It's good cameras. Not like, you know, in the Idaho case where Judge John Judge wants to control the cameras. No, this is good cameras. The pool camera in there. So why are they not showing the whole hearings? I don't understand. Somebody explain why they're not showing the whole hearings. Is it not important enough or what? I don't know. I'd be happy with them just streaming it on their website and can play it directly from a website. I don't understand. Anyway.
Going on in the mother's life around the time of her son Quentin's death.
We have alleged that she killed her son in the middle of the night. Okay? That is a heck of a thing to say about a mother.
Prosecutor Timothy Dean introduced statements from Simon's longtime friend.
You will testify about the defendant's feelings towards Quentin's father and by extension towards Quentin.
He also asked the judge to consider videos, text messages, and interviews that he says show Simon and her boyfriend at the time having relationship difficulties. Prosecutors want statements from Quentin's babysitter admitted as well.
We had some information to provide about an instance of actual physical violence.
Simon's lawyers pushed back, saying these personal details should not be admissible because they're irrelevant to the charges Simon faces.
The state's offering it just to make her look unstable and bad.
Yeah, but she was unstable and bad. She was unstable and bad. They're not introducing anything that isn't true. She was unstable and bad. And multiple people. The fact that she lost custody of her kids. The fact that her mother, the children's grandmother, had custody for those very reasons makes you understand that it's not just one person saying this to make her look bad and everybody else said, oh no, she's a wonderful mother. No, everybody was saying the same. Okay. I mean, look, they're doing the job. I don't mind them doing the job. They've got to do their job. So give it a go. Yeah, the judge isn't taking any crap. the judge is seeing this as it really is.
In front of the jury. That's all it's about. It has nothing to do with what the state has alleged. It's simply not probative of the real issues in the case.
Prosecutors doubling down.
In order to make our case, we need to be allowed to put on evidence of these intrinsic factors, things that were going on in her life at the time, even if some of them might be unsavory or unfavorable to her to one degree or another.
And Judge Tammy Stokes did not make a ruling today. She did, however, rule just days ago on a separate motion in this case. That was an ask from us, Leilani Simon's lawyers, to quash some of the charges that are levied against her. The judge denied that motion, meaning all 19 counts against Leilani Simon stemming from Quentin Simon's death in 2022 will stand. The next hearing in this case is set for next month before an expected October 9th trial date. Reporting live in Savannah, Flint Snyder, WTOC News.
WTOC, of course, has been following this sad, horrific case from the very beginning. For all of our coverage on the case of little Quentin Simon, go to our website, WTOC.com, click on the news page and the Quentin Simon case tab. All
right, I'll do that. WTOC. WTOC. Okay, all right. Click on news. Okay. Then what did it say? Quentin Simon. All right, where's that? Can I search? Quentin Simon. Leilani appears in court. Judge denies motion. These are just short news pieces, though, aren't they? See his court date. Look at this.
There should be a refund of £84,501.56.
On a case we've been following out of Chatham County, a date has now been set for the trial.
Okay. Yeah, they're just short news pieces. See, I'd be happy if they just put the hearings on here and we could just watch them from here, but no. Okay. All right. Let's watch one more of these. Let's do this one. Judge denies motion. Let's do this one. Because this is a different news channel, so they might have something slightly different. But it's only had 20 views. Look. It's only had 20 views. WRDW. 120 views. 44 views. Maybe this is why they're not bothering to stream the whole hearings, because nobody's interested. Seriously? Unbelievable. 454 views. How many people have I got in the chat here? 469 people watching right now. Do you remember when this case was new? Just how this case blew up, where all of those people were outside of the house while Leilani and Billy Joe were all sat there outside smoking and drinking. And yeah, I can understand why people had to go at Billy Joe then. I really can. But there was protesters. They were out there for weeks. And yet, as soon as Leilani's arrested, no one's interested. Yes, there was a little bit of, there was a flurry of interest when it was, you know, Quinton's remains were found and Leilani was arrested. That was it. That was it. People, this is why it's not been easy to keep up on this case, because no one's talking about it. And when no one talks about it, they just get forgotten. 44 views though. Excuse me, 120 views. 20 views. 20 views. Right, well, let's be the 21st view of this.
Includes text messages, statements, and the mom accused of killing her toddler and dumping his body in a dumpster appeared in court Friday. Prosecutors laid out evidence they want to use in Leilani Simon's trial. They say it includes text messages, statements, and phone data showing what was going on in her life around the time of her son Quinton's death. It also includes details on the relationship between Simon and her boyfriend and accusations of physical violence.
We have alleged that she killed her son in the middle of the night. Okay, that is a heck of a thing to say about a mother. And our position is that in order to make our case, we need to be allowed to put on evidence of these intrinsic factors, things that were going on in her life at the time, even if some of them might be unsavory or unfavorable to her to one degree or another.
Simon's lawyer is pushing back, saying evidence won't prove accusations in the case, and it's just being introduced to make Simon look bad. The next hearing in the case is next month before the October 9th trial.
All right, so they didn't say anything different and they used the same clip. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a case of we go through the trial with these little tiny clips from the news. I hate that. I hate that. Especially when the cameras are in the court. So it's not like the judge have banned, it's not Adelphi where the judge has banned cameras at all. The cameras are there. The cameras are great. The audio's a little bit iffy, but it's fine. I'd be happy with that. If I could find a stream, if I could find on somebody's, like on W Talk or whatever it's called. Hold on, where are we? If I could find a stream, I'd stream it. I'd play it for everybody. But this is the last thing on W Talk. You can skip this ad in 11 seconds. Skip.
Well, thank you for joining us here on The News at 6. I'm Mike Seeley.
And I'm Dawn Baker. Accusations of relationship gone.
No, that's the one we just listened to on YouTube. So that's the last one. So we're up to date. So people just moved on. Yeah. People just moved on. Because a month after, so this was October 5th, 2022. Leilani was arrested, I think it was like a month later. So if I go back to my playlist here. Quinton Simon press conference. Is Leilani Megan Boswell 2.0? Yes. Cadaver dogs at landfill. 2 weeks searching landfill. Law enforcement update. Are they ending the search? They went home. They went home for like a weekend. And then everyone was like, are they going to end the search? Billy Joe speaks on Leilani's arrest. All right. Okay, let's have a look at
Good
this.
morning, everyone. My name is Michelle. I hope you're doing
All right. Oh, it's just me talking. Is there any clips in here?
Leilani Simon.
All right. So this is so arrest date 11/21. So what, about 6 weeks. So he went missing, quote unquote, went missing. Reed was murdered on October 5th, 2022. And then she was finally arrested on the 21st of April. No, November. 21st of November, 2022. Well, you know what happened 2 days after that? Can anybody tell me what happened 2 days after that? Does anybody remember what happened 2 days after that? No, I don't think Bola and Betty was arrested outside when they were all protesting. Wasn't Dolly Vision arrested? Yeah, the charges were dropped. It was Dolly Vision that was arrested. All right, nobody remembers what happened 2 days after that. The Idaho 4. The Idaho 4 case. Ethan, Xana, Kaylee, Maddie were murdered on November 23rd, 2022. No, Richard Allen had already been charged. That was the month before. Richard Allen was charged on October 26th. He was detained. And then I think he was charged on the 28th. And then the press conference was on the 31st. So, yeah, the 23rd of November, 2022 was when Ethan, Maddie, Kaylee, Xana were arrested. No, not arrested. Oh, God, my brain is so bad. They weren't arrested. They were murdered. So everybody jumped on that, including me, also during that week, which is why a lot of these videos I've got like joint videos, you know, with Michael Vaughan and Quinton. So I was doing like, you know, updates on Michael and Quinton in the same video, because it was also at that time the search outside of Sarah Wanderer's house was that week as well. So I remember doing a live stream on November 23rd, 2022, waiting for news. I remember sitting here on this very seat, day after day after day, watching the news, waiting for something to happen as they were digging up Sarah Wanderer's backyard in search of Michael Vaughan. And I remember November 23rd, I remember it distinctly, November 23rd, one of the news reporters did a piece and she said something like, I'm paraphrasing, something like, sorry, I'm distracted because 4 college students have been murdered and I went to that college. It was one of the reporters that was standing outside Sarah Wanderer's house who broke the news, and I was playing it I was playing it. So behind the scenes, I went and had a look at what had gone on, like elsewhere in Idaho. And there it was. 4 college students had been murdered. And it was right there. It looked like they were just reporting, like, breaking the news. And then it just absolutely blew up. It blew up. So Leilani Simon's arrest was overshadowed by the Idaho 4 case and also the search for Michael Vaughn. Like, a lot of people were following that at the time as well. So after that, though, people just completely forgot about it. And I'm going to tell you, so did I, because every time she was in court, like, I went live expecting the court to go live, expecting there to be a stream, because I knew that they had cameras in the court. So I remember going live. So that was the full indictment read through. Court dates. There, Leilani Simon back in court today. And I sat there for an hour and a half waiting for a stream, waiting for one news channel to stream it, and they didn't. I think that would have been probably March 2023, maybe, just based on the fact Nicola Bully happened in January. So that must have been January as well, maybe. Let's have a look. January 25th. So she's in court January 25th, and then she was in court in March. I've just not commented. I've not commented because it's just tiny news pieces. It's tiny news pieces. I was aware that a defense were trying to get the murder indictment quashed, but there was no news up until 2 weeks ago. And then the judge finally issued this indictment that we've read 2 weeks ago. And there's nothing else. So there is a pre-trial hearing at some point this month. Do I know the date? Let me just see if I can find the date. I think I need to start doing a calendar to keep my dates in check here. Let's have a look, see if I can find it. Go away. No. Here we go. All right, so we've got status conference. So we've had that one. The court will hold a motion hearing on motion in limine, August 16th. The court will also hold a motions hearing on September 17th. Well, they had one on August 23rd as well. Anyhow. And then status conference. So I will hold a virtual status conference on September 13th. And then jury trial, October 7th. Jury selection shall commence on October 9th. Eh? How does that work then? Isn't it jury selection October 7th? And then trial commence October 9th? I'm a bit confused. I'm a bit confused here about these dates. Oh, well. Oh, well. We're going to get some kind of pre-trial hearing mid-September, so actually in a few days' time, and then the trial at the beginning of October. What is that noise, Michelle? It's Cassie trying to make a bed. Oh, yeah, Lucy Letby. Lots of people are saying Lucy Letby's innocent now. Have you seen it? There's like a growing movement. Like some statisticians have come out and said that they're doubting the veracity of the claims made by the prosecution at the trial, because the statistics don't work, because there was some deaths, I think it was something like 9 deaths, weren't included. Like the deaths that occurred when Lucy Letby wasn't on shift weren't included in the dates that were presented at trial. So basically they were saying Lucy Letby has to be guilty because she was always on shift when these babies died. But yet there was babies that died when Lucy wasn't on shift that the jury weren't told about. So I'm keeping out of it. I've no idea, simply because the trial went on for months and there's no cameras in UK courts apart from sentencing, when some judges now will allow cameras in the court so that you can hear the sentence. So I don't know, because I can't see any of the evidence, because the trial isn't televised. There's nowhere that I can see the evidence to see for myself. So she's had an appeal denied anyway. So Lucy can't be coincidence that every single baby that was harmed. The argument is that the babies that died when Lucy wasn't on shift weren't included in the trial. And if you think about, if you give like the jury everything, like these are the babies that died when Lucy was on shift, and then these were the babies that died when Lucy wasn't on shift, and there was almost as many babies died when Lucy wasn't on shift as died when she was on shift, well, that spins it in a very different way to a jury than saying all of the babies died when Lucy was on shift. There's a channel that has documented all the transcripts from court. If you don't mind me posting the channel in chat. Yeah, please do. Please post the channel in chat. I know the Daily Mail did a podcast. The Daily Mail did a big podcast. Like every day, the Daily Mail posted. But it's not the same. It's not the same as actually being able to see the evidence. Maybe natural causes. Look, this is a neonatal baby unit. So some babies are going to die regardless of what anybody does, because these are the most vulnerable of little babies. That, you know, many of them are preemies, many of them are from, you know, multiple births. So they're more at risk, the smaller when they're born, etc. Crime scene to courtroom. So, look, I'm not going to say that I think she's innocent. I'm not. I'm definitely not. Given the amount of evidence that was presented, unless there's an absolute slam dunk piece of evidence that comes out, I'm going to say that her conviction should stand. That guy has transcribed it brilliantly. What, the actual court transcripts? Hold on. Oh, I can't click on it on YouTube. On StreamYard even. Crime scene to courtroom. Hold on. Crime scene to courtroom. I think this is somebody who followed the Nicola Bully case. Crime scene to courtroom. What, they've got transcripts? How have they got transcripts? I mean, this went on for months. The trial went on for about 9 months. It's one of the longest trials in the history of the UK justice system. Someone paid £100,000 for the Letby transcripts. He paid £100,000. I was in court every day. He bought the transcripts from his own money. Yeah, but the amount of pages, the trial went on for like 9 months. If he was in court and he took his own notes, that's different. Black belt barrister, never heard of them, said the transcripts were £100,000. Maybe he bought some of them. Anyway, let's have a look. Fake medical examination, real reason for writing alleged confession notes. Convicted Essex boys, come on, that's different. Jury verdict, the false narrative, breaking the alibi. I'll watch some of these. Lucy Letby, the horror.
In this series, and exclusive to this channel, you'll hear a word-for-word account of what the jury were told after hearing 9 months of evidence during Lucy Letby's original trial. Now, with so much harmful misinformation currently with these jottings, I'll start with Exhibit It. And according to her, being my social life, your social life, allowed a social life. This is of child A and B, the case at 19. The details of the discoloration, or what he saw, his heart trace on the Philips monitor, and the effect of what he signs.
Right. Sounds interesting. Right, thank you. I shall listen to some of these videos. In this 9th video in our series on the prosecution closing, Nicholas Johnson, QC, continues to lay out for the jury the prosecution theory of the crimes committed by Lucy Letby, focusing on the lies she told, the grand conspiracy, and returning focus to her very first victim. Is Lucy Letby one of the most horrific killers in British history, or is she, as she insists, a victim of a conspiracy by doctors looking to protect themselves? The transcripts utilised in the making of this series were purchased legally through the British court system and authorised for use in creating factual media content. Okay, cool. Listen, if he spent £100,000 to buy every single transcript from every single day, He's never going to recoup that back. He's never going to recoup it back. But if he was in court every day, then he could have just taken his own notes. Can't be as bad as Chris Watts with the 20,000 pages. There isn't 20,000 pages in the Chris Watts files. There was about 1,000 pages in the discovery. I've got them all. I've got everything. I've got every page and every video, everything. I've got everything from the Chris Watts case. Because Weld County just, all you do is email Weld County Sheriff's Office and they send you this massive file. It's like 54 gigabytes of information. I don't have it on my computer because it's too big. I don't even have it on this computer. I've now got my second screen back, by the way. No, I've not even got it on the big computer. I've got it on its own external hard drive. So it's that big. It's all the videos, but it's nowhere near 20,000 pages. I've gone through the entire discovery on this channel for Chris Watts. It's not that big because he pled guilty. They were only halfway through an investigation and he pled guilty. So they stopped the investigation. That's why there's loads of holes in the discovery. In the Brenna Jai murder trial, they included inculpatory evidence that was actually paperwork from school assignments. And my daughter also did. So they sometimes get things wrong. Don't know about the case Michelle is talking about. I'm talking about Lucy Letby. However, somebody asked about Chris Watts. And the Chris Watts discovery is 1,000 pages. And then, but there's 54 gigabytes of data. And it's free. Weld County just give it you free. Like I guess you would need to buy, if you wanted to buy the court transcripts, but you don't need to because all the hearings were televised. Like everything was televised, so you don't need to buy anything. But anyway, yeah, Lucy Letby. So this crime scene to courtroom guy, maybe he's just bought transcripts from, the days that have the most important information, or maybe he's used his own notes. If he was in court every day, then he can choose his own notes, which is great. But if he was in court every day for 9 months, that's insane. Can you still watch the Chris Watts videos? Yeah, you certainly can. If you go to playlists and just find Chris Watts. Hold on. It'll be further down. It'll be down somewhere because it's ages ago since I last did one. Here we go. I've got a playlist on Chris Watts' letters. That's reading his letters. I've got Summer of Lies, which is just everything to do with Nicole Kessinger. And then I've got an overall playlist for Chris Watts. Here it is, Chris Watts case. I started this channel. I started this channel with Chris Watts because I had all the I had everything. Like I'd already got everything that, from the Chris Watts case because I was interested in it. So when I started the channel, because I had the videos and everything, I started with going through the videos, the discovery, the letters, So this channel actually started with Chris Watts. Some of these videos got good views. Like my top 5 videos on the channel are all Chris Watts. Like, I should just do Chris Watts videos and get really good views. Some of them didn't, but some of them were only short. Some of them were just like comment pieces. But the ones where I actually went through discovery and the videos got good views. So yeah, they're all there. Just go into my playlists and find Chris Watts case. So they're all there. Look, all of them. So you've got 107 videos to watch. 107 videos. A few live streams as well. I did a few Q&As. So there's discovery. There's some opinion pieces, letters, and a couple of live streams in that playlist. Thank you, Auntie Ree. You're very kind. Thank you for the $1.99. It's very kind of you. Your daughter's enrolled in chemistry. Oh, cool. Started watching me when I did Chris Watts. Stay with Gabby Petito. Yeah, I went from Chris Watts to Summer Wells. And then Gabby blew up. Yeah, I've followed a lot. I've got loads of cases. But it's that, like, the videos, I do a playlist. I don't do a playlist for every case. Like, if I just do like a one-off or 2 videos on a case, then it doesn't get a dedicated playlist. There's a few things that I want to put in playlists that I've not done yet, because I'm just lazy. But yeah. Chemistry was your worst subject. I enjoyed chemistry, I have to say. I enjoyed science generally. Yeah, there was Summer Wells. Michael Vaughan happened shortly after summer. Then Gabby was in September 2021. God, that seems so long ago now. Seems so long ago. But yeah, coming up, we've got Sarah Boone, October 7th. We've got Leilani Simon, October 7th. We've got Delphi trial, October 14th. Then, have we got any trials in November? I'm talking about just the cases I'm covering. I mean, obviously, there's trials. Don't think so. Then there's the Karen Reid retrial in January. And then one that I've been waiting for 5 years. Yes, 5 years. Megan Boswell is February of 2025. 5 years. Evelyn Boswell died at the beginning of 2020. We've had an entire global pandemic been and gone, whilst Megan Boswell has been sitting in jail. She's another Sarah Boone, like going through numerous attorneys. Numerous attorneys. 21 was a bad year. It was. 24 is a bad year as well, yeah. We've had a lot of cases in 24. Is Michelle the hardest working YouTuber? Yeah, hit the like button. Whether or not you think I'm hardworking, hit the like button anyway. Cozy autumn with Michelle. November hopefully will be. I know Sarah Boone's due to last for 3 weeks, so that'll end by the beginning of November. The Delphi trial is going to last a month. That's going to end on November 15th, according to Francis. She's got an end date. You've got to end by now. So the whole of October and then right into November is going to be insane for trials. Megan Boswell is horrendous. And I'm hoping that'll be televised because the big hearing that she had, where all the details of how Evelyn was found came out, that was televised. So I'm hoping that Megan's will be televised. So that's February. You always put me on when you're doing your housework. 21 can be blamed on lockdown. People still suffering with mental health. I don't know. Trouble is, though, I think we know what Megan did. Allegedly. Obviously, innocent till proven guilty in a court of law. But we know exactly what Megan is alleged to have done. Whereas Leilani, we don't know how bad it was. This is the thing. Quinton's death might have been every which way as bad as Evelyn's. We'll just never know because of the way that Leilani dumped his body. Whereas Evelyn was wrapped up and put in a trash can and then just left in a shed or playhouse. So they actually found her intact body. Whereas with Quinton, we'll never know the details. We cannot ever know the details. So, Megan drives me mad. Vinnie Politan did Megan Boswell the other day on Vinnie Politan Investigates, if anybody watched it. But I'm looking forward to her trial. I'm looking forward to her having the smirk wiped off her face. She just has this face that you just want to punch. She's just a very smirky kind of face. All right, I'm going to go anyway. Yeah, I hope many more details are to come from in the trial, yeah. But we'll never know exactly what happened to Quinton. Unless Leilani tells us. If she gives a full confession. But then again, how do we know she's telling the truth? How do we know she's telling the truth? But we'll see. We'll see. It's going to be interesting for sure. Justice for baby Quinton, eh? All right, guys, I'm going to go. So thank you all for joining me. I think I just had the one donation. I'm just double checking. But thank you. Did we get any new members? Don't think we even got any new members. All right, fair enough. Fair enough. I don't mind. Okay, so thank you all. Thank you all. Thank you, mods, as always. And enjoy the rest of your day. I'll see you soon. Bye, guys.